really do. You're a 21-year-old punk fucking kid. Grandpa's given you everything all your fucking life. You've never had a car payment, a house payment. Everything you live in was given to you by Grandpa. You fucking don't know what it's like to work for a fucking living like I do, to bust my fucking ass and do what I do. And you know what, Sean? You fucked me, and that's the way you got it. But you know what? Your grandpa's money will run out someday, and you'll have to feast for yourself. Get a fucking job, you piece of shit.
Welcome to Behind the Smoke Podcast, Barbecue War Stories. My name is Sean Walchef from Cali Comfort Barbecue. We are recording above the butcher shop, Valley Farm Market out here in Spring Valley with my man Derek Marceau. 2018, grinding.
And got to give you a shout out, man. Last week was a rough week for me, and you came to the rescue. So I was on vacation in Hawaii with my family. It's the first time we've actually taken a trip, like a vacation other than just kind of going to travel to see family somewhere. And the rain came and flooded my store. So it was really exciting to get phone calls. And you know what? I just didn't really know what to do, and I was looking for flights, and I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to call Sean. And Sean had it taken care of within an hour or two, and, you know, I know you always tell me don't mention it, but it was really good to have that feeling of you knew someone was here to have your back when something bad happened, so thank you for that.
Yeah, I'm proud of you for not getting on that plane and ending your one vacation that you got to spend with your wife and your sons and your brother-in-law. You know, it's very difficult to want to fix something, and I know how difficult it must have been for you to stay up all night and worry about the shop. I mean, there was a fucking lot of water. Dude, right. There was a lot of water. It was kind of like a perfect storm. There was a small hole in the wall that turned into a bigger leak, and kind of where the water was pouring off of two buildings puddled, and man, it was a disaster. But your team, they stepped up. The village stepped up. I pulled in Jason, who helps us with the Spring Valley Barbecue Festival. Yeah. He came in. He was in full uniform.
Was he?
He's in the Navy. Yeah, he just got out of his car. I'm like, oh, perfect, my man.
Right.
Signing you up.
No, that's what it is. I mean, it honestly is. I was talking to my wife about it that night, and she's like, go to sleep. I'm like, I can't sleep. I'm not going to be able to sleep. And, you know, it's like it really does take a village sometimes to do things right. And, you know, it's great to have that security when you leave. So, again, thank you. Hawaii was great. Weather was great. Barbecue over there was great. Everything was just amazing. So 2018 started off on the right hand.
I think it is. You know, we started getting back down to the basics. We had Jim Trotter come out and you come out for our first ever Cali Breakfast Club. And we wanted to do a volunteer meeting for our staff to kind of let them know the bigger why. It's difficult once you go from 18 employees to, I believe we're at like 87.
Yeah, but let me just clarify. When he says we had you guys come out, he never fucking told us that we were going to be talking in front of everybody. So we literally went there, myself, Jim Trotter, and we're like, oh, you know, just in case someone has questions, maybe I can give a different perspective as a different business owner. Nope, Sean had us up talking in front of the whole staff.
The whole staff.
You know, kind of, I'm never at a loss for words, so it was fine.
I wasn't worried about you or Jim.
So it was fine, but it was cool, man. It was cool to see everyone come together. And that's what you have to do sometimes in business, is bring everyone together and make sure everyone knows this is our vision, this is where we're going, this is what we want to achieve. And so when people do ask, they know the whys, right?
Sure.
They have to know the why behind our stories.
Well, I mean, if it makes you feel any better, I didn't tell my wife that she was going to be speaking either. So my wife came with our 6-month-old son, and they got to say a few words. Corey, the producer, got to say a few words. Layla even got to say some words. Basically called on everybody. It's very easy to, when you're in the forest and you're deep in it and you're doing operations, you're working, you're running your business, and you're like, well, this is shitty and this, we need to fix this and we need to do that. It's difficult to get out and to look at the entire big picture. And, totally. You know, for people to get back and be like, oh, I remember when I was hired. Yeah. And for them to get back to that, I think it was really good. It was a good exercise, and it made it even better that you were willing to share, and Jim and everybody else. So fired up for 2018.
It's a good year.
Let's do it. Let's get after it.
Got the green egg fixed.
Finally.
Finally.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
No fault of theirs, but my employee dumped it over.
Oh, wow.
That was exciting, and but got it fixed. And Green Egg has been very, good with us and helped us get us a base here pretty quick. So
Yeah.
ready to go.
Well, if you're tuning in for the first time, we appreciate you tuning in. This is a business and marketing podcast. We drop a new episode every Friday. For those of you that have subscribed on any of the podcast apps, we appreciate that. If you wrote a review, we appreciate that. People reaching out, tagging us behind the smoke on Instagram. That means a lot. We're on a barbecue journey. Our barbecue journey has taken us, this is going to be about almost half a year we've been podcasting.
A little over.
Now we're getting ready to go out to the National Barbecue Association. There's a huge annual conference that's going to come up in March 14th to the 17th.
March 14th is a good day.
Yeah, is that your birthday?
Yeah.
Yeah? 21?
22.
22.
22 years old.
So you're not even a millennial yet.
No, I'm 35. Well, I'll be 35.
Yeah, so we're going to head out to the NBBQA National Conference, I Am BBQ 2018. Hopefully we see a lot of our barbecue friends and family. We already been talking it up with some other barbecue podcasts, Best Barbecue Show, Stover and Yoni. They were on the NBBQA call this morning. Greg Rempe, he's been podcasting for 12 years.
Jesus.
12 years, Barbecue Central show.
Wow.
So that's another podcast, but I mean, that's 3 years before I even opened up a Facebook page. So this guy was on it. Hopefully we can get Man Meat Barbecue Show, Mikey K out there as well. But if anyone can make it out, we hope to see you there. Today's an awesome day because we get to bring in another part of the barbecue family out here on the West Coast.
Yeah, it's growing, and I think people are starting to take notice that California has good barbecue too, and we're really trying to create a movement where people can try it and taste it, and really trying to do everything that we can in our journey to uplift all the other barbecue places in here. So we're excited to have.
We have Rick, and we have Brigette from Iron Pig Alehouse, IPA. I love it.
Welcome, guys.
Iron Pig Alehouse.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone.
One of the most impressive things for me is, having grown up in La Jolla, spending a lot of time at Pacific Beach, I've seen so many businesses come into PB and fail. There's a particular location where Iron Pig is located, has been unsuccessful for my whole life until Iron Pig came in. And Iron Pig came in and they anchored down. And when we say anchored down, every time I drive past Iron Pig, it's popping. It is popping, and what they're doing is very, very impressive. And we're honored to have you guys here to share your story. So,
thanks so much, guys.
Get us back to the origin, Rick. I guess let's start with you. How'd you start? How'd you get into the barbecue game?
Well, I got into the barbecue. I've been cooking my whole life. My family, we're all great cooks, actually. I think my sister's better than me, but I grew up with barbecue. I grew up with soul food. My family.
This is in Texas?
This is in Texas.
Okay.
I grew up in El Paso, Texas. Most of my family is from Texas or Louisiana. And we just ate, it was always some kind of jambalaya or barbecue, etouffees, shrimp and grits. So I fell in love with that style of food. And my grandfather, Chuck Taylor, and he'll always tell you that he
nice shoes.
Yeah.
I still wear those sometimes.
That would have been nice.
Yeah, he had a barbecue restaurant. It was called the Buffalo Soldiers. And
cool.
Dreads like Ross.
And so he opened it up around 92 in El Paso, and I would go and work there and help him out and learn how to smoke meat. And he had one of those cast iron inlays with the brick outside, and it was kind of like coops actually.
Yeah.
And it was cool, and that got me in the game at an early age. But then when I got into barbecue here at IPA, I had been doing fine dining cooking and like farm to table cooking here in San Diego.
Sure.
I was approached by the owners they had an idea about bringing barbecue to PB because there wasn't anything there close by. And since I had a background, I agreed, and I had to get my all my experience back because I hadn't really barbecued at a huge level.
You got to dust that hat back off and figure out if it still fits.
Yeah, I did it at my house and all that, but
right.
On a large scale, I had to get back into it. So, but it's like riding a bike. I picked it right back up, and here we are now.
That's awesome. How'd you find Rick?
his hat was well dusted off by the time that we ever even had a tasting dinner. We were introduced to him, and honestly, he cooked for us maybe, I don't know, a week later. And we were still trying to figure out what type of concept we wanted. And truly, he came over to Louise, my business partner's house, and just completely put out a spread for, I don't know, I think there was about 10 of us. Mm-hmm. And by the end of that night, we knew concept, we knew he was our guy, and we knew that was a perfect spot for it, because definitely there was a place in the market in PB for it that we didn't really see any barbecue that was on par with Rick's.
Sure. Were you in the restaurant industry before IPA?
Louise and I work with land developers all over the country. We own a marketing firm as well as, IPA. And we work with a lot of land developers and real estate investment trusts. And they have restaurants think of shopping centers and things like that. And so we do a lot of cooperative marketing with that. We're used to challenging and validating business plans for certain businesses and things like that. So when the lease is right, when the space is right, and you've got Rick, you do it.
And what's the name of the marketing agency?
It's called BabyBird Communications.
Okay, very cool. And how long has it been open?
9 years.
And it's you and Lois?
It's me and Louise, yeah.
Louise.
Me and Louise.
Yeah, That's great. How'd you guys find each other?
So Louise comes from a development family. Mm-hmm. Her family has done a ton of development in San Diego. I actually worked in LA running an agency there for many, many years. Her boyfriend at the time ran a modeling agency. And he said, hey, I'm going out on my own. Will you book your models through me? And I said, yes. And I became his work wife, and she was his home wife. And he said, you guys are going to meet each other, and you're either going to fall in love with each other or you're going to hate each other. And I'm going to have two, situations on my hand.
Sure.
And we fell in love with each other the first time we sat down. We started strategizing about her goals, my goals. What do we want to do with life? What's BS? What's great? Why we think each other's great, and it's been awesome ever since. She's not only my business partner, she's really my sister.
That's pretty cool that you guys would actually think about doing a place together, though. I mean,
yeah.
This shit's hard, man. This shit's fucking gnarly, and people don't understand it. And to say like, okay, let's go get a restaurant. My buddy did it. He had he was making a shit ton of money. It's like, I'm going to open up a restaurant just for somewhere for me to go and the family to go. And
yeah.
I mean, he lost millions of dollars doing it and trying to chase a dollar, and he couldn't keep up. And, it's a scary thing, but to be able to do it and see that there was a need for barbecue and PB, and to say, hey, let's go do it. Did you have any barbecue experience yourself?
I didn't have barbecue experience. We work with a restaurant group that had a few barbecue restaurants in Kansas City and in Kansas City, Missouri.
Sure.
And so we had that experience. But honestly,
who were they? If you don't mind me asking.
It was with a company called Red Development. And so I don't know if you know, by the Kansas City Speedway, they had Legends at Village West and all of that. So we actually helped with all of the marketing to bring that to fruition.
Oh, cool.
So it kind of goes... I look like I'm 25, but I'm really not at all. But honestly, it was more about Louise living in PB and being a resident and wanting something for her direct environment that was family friendly, something that was good food she could get behind, and honestly, when we met Rick, it was kind of love at first sight, to be honest with you.
Well, he is very handsome.
I mean, he's really kind of cute.
Yeah.
He's really kind of cute. But no, honestly, I think that Louise's passion for neighborhood and wanting something good for the community and having all the experience in development, my responsibility from the development standpoint, knowing that we could do it, and then Rick being the talent was like, it was a no-brainer.
So you guys are continuing to do your marketing stuff, and
we are.
And then you let Rick run the show, basically.
Well, Rick is brilliant back of house. We also have an amazing front of house manager that does all our beer buying and manages the front of house staff. Rick's family in the back is very tight. It's a well-run machine, and Louise and I both handle the marketing and kind of the admin stuff of the front as well.
How many employees are we at?
I'd say we're at about 37, something like that.
Yeah.
I know I have about 12 with me in the back, and then we have servers, bartenders, and it's grown quite a bit as far as what we needed. Just because when we first opened, we weren't Sure, but since we are like a full service restaurant, and when it gets busy on a Friday, Saturday night,
I've been in there and it's been bumping, like packed.
Yeah. So
When you say you run a well-oiled machine, well, we saw it yesterday. You walked in the back and saw your coolers and stuff, and it was impressive. I mean, it was nice and clean, and it's small, and like we run into problems. We're actually doing a expansion right now on our electrical just to be able to get a kitchen and move stuff around. It's like you're always fighting for space.
Yeah.
But you have to be a well-oiled machine if you're gonna have that little space.
And I've been used to working in kitchens that way. And I want that walk-in looking. If those guys, if I come in on Friday and it's not looking like I want, then they know about it, because you have to have a clean walk-in, a clean kitchen, or no one, if anyone comes back there, especially we have people that want to come see the smoker, they want to come see what we do. We have to have it looking nice for them, so they want to feel comfortable eating there.
Did you put that grate inside the wood?
I did.
Did you?
I did. I wanted to raise. Sometimes that flame.
I'm sorry, he has an old hickory smoker just like us, so that's the reason I was asking. It's an SSE if you guys want to look it up, and there's a side burner on it, and he put a grate right by the firebox, right by the igniter. And to keep airflow?
Well, yeah, the reason for that was definitely that, to keep airflow underneath. You saw the machine. It's in a tight little. It's not outside like your guys' where it has a little bit of room to breathe. So, we need that back airflow coming through. And so I put that grate. Once I put the wood on, it seemed like it got hot very fast. Before, it was having a little bit of problem getting up to temp very quickly. That was my idea, to throw it in there, and it worked. So I just
ours still takes about 20, 30 minutes to get up to temp. Ours does.
And for me, I don't have that luxury sometimes, just because I have maybe 3 runs a day usually, and especially with those wings, I got to get them in. So we have them open for 11:30, because just like barbecue, I try to have everything fresh every day.
Right.
I don't want to use any old meat, so. That was the plan, to try to get it hot. It gets hot in about, I'd say, 15 minutes with that grate.
Yeah. I think one of the challenges we talked about before the podcast started is for people out here on the West Coast in San Diego to understand low and slow cooking, and that when we're out, we're out. Can you guys talk about a little bit of the challenges that you had from an operations standpoint and a marketing standpoint to kind of educate our customers, to let them know what you guys are trying to do?
Sure. I think that was interesting for Rick coming from Texas. Some of the comments when we first opened about
comments on like Yelp.
Comments on Yelp and Facebook and different groups that were, upset that they couldn't get brisket at 9:30 when they came in, or that something had run out on a weekly special. And luckily, because of the environment of San Diego and the different kind of barbecue knowledge that's coming to the market now, we usually have other people that are able to speak and say, hey guys, you want your barbecue restaurant to run out. Hey, this is a good thing. You're not getting old meat. And Rick runs a very scratch kitchen. I think that, he does everything from makes the ice cream, makes the ranch dressing, makes everything except for the ketchup for the kids' fries. So it's definitely easier when people that have the knowledge say, actually, guys, this is a great thing. You want your barbecue to be like traditional El Paso barbecue.
Well, it's also training servers to relay that information to the customer, so that they understand why I don't have baby backs at 9:30 at night when I went through already about 3 or 4 cases. So, and it can only fit so much. You guys have the same smoker as me. It's not like a huge long pit like Franklin's or someone like that. So
now, did you with the baby backs? Did you do baby backs instead of spare ribs for a reason? Like we did. We do baby backs as well.
I actually do have spare ribs, but they only sell them at dinner time past 5.
Okay.
Just because of the room. Everything else in there. So. But baby backs is what we sell the most of as far as the ribs go.
Right.
I prefer spares, and I tell the servers to try to push spares, but it just seems like people have it in their mind they want baby backs. And our baby backs are great, but spares just have so much more meat, and they have that rib tip attached, so,
Yeah, you cut your whole rib tip off.
Yeah, we fabricate the rib tip.
But we do baby backs here because, to be honest, it's faster.
Yeah.
For us, it's, we're going through quite a bit of baby backs every single day. And we got that smoker. We only got one. We got tri-tips to go on, briskets to go on, chickens to go on, everything else. We got to keep it going. So it took about 3 hours away from cooking time for all those ribs, and helped us out a lot to make sure that we had enough room for everything else.
It's definitely an art, and barbecuing. But like coming from fine dining into barbecue, there's a lot of cooks around here that can cook a piece of meat from raw to fresh in however many minutes. But there's only a handful of people that can master slow cooking.
Sure.
Around the city, I've met a lot of cooks that can do foie gras or sear fish correctly and all that. But with barbecue, I think it's really something that takes a special attention to, and time and patience and trial and error and failure. But once you start nailing it and you get it down, you feel good about it, and you open that smoker and see those baby backs look
right,
like you want to constantly eat them. You're around it so much. That's special.
We talk about it a lot too. It's not necessarily too hard to make good barbecue.
Right.
It's extremely hard to make great barbecue and to do it consistently. So, you can have some good barbecue. You can do it outside in your backyard. Your friends come over and they're like, "Oh, that's good stuff." And they're not lying to you. I mean, I'm sure you make some good barbecue, but to make great barbecue that people are going to remember and want to come back and it's consistently good, it's fucking hard.
I know, 7 days a week. It is. And on occasion, when you have that dry brisket or someone, I'm like, it does happen sometimes.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
It's
Don't kid
error.
yourself.
It's human error.
Happens all the time. I mean, it happens a lot more than we want to even say. But it's every cattle's different, and it's hard because if you're not there and you understand brisket's a feel, and how do you teach your cook who's just coming in trying to figure it out and he doesn't understand, he's just trying to get it at 200, well, it might be dry now, so it's a constant battle for us to make sure that it's consistently good. But
it's a lot of educating my cooks and prep cook, which I've had luckily for 2 years now, so I don't have a high turnover on that, which means that we can stay consistent because they're the ones doing it with me when I'm not there. And they're pretty good pit masters themselves now, especially my prep cook. She's a 53-year-old woman from Oaxaca, and she knows how to knows how to cue now.
She's amazing.
Yeah.
How's it been with the marketing of it? How did you guys come up with the name Iron Pig? How'd you guys
do
all your
honestly,
stuff?
that old hickory beast, when we had to take out the back wall in order to get it in.
When did you select the old hickory? How did that?
And how did you even come up with the old hickory?
Well, I did research. It was the Pride, the old hickory, and then there was one. I forgot the other one, but I called. They just had very good customer service.
Yeah.
Luke, you talked to Luke? Who'd you talk to? Remember?
No, it was Margaret.
Okay.
Margaret from Old Hickory.
Yep.
They just had good customer service. Pride didn't necessarily want to get back to us but I mean, they were still a good smoker, but they just had great customer service. They had a guy out here that lives in Huntington Beach that can fix it anytime. I don't know if you guys know who that guy is.
Huge.
Kiff. He's in Huntington Beach.
Keith?
Kiff.
No, I don't know Kiff. We know Keith.
Yeah,
he's our guy.
We can do anything.
So they just had. It was just it was a good product. I read a lot of good reviews, and that's why we went with it.
I can't imagine it disappointed you at all.
No.
I mean, they are, I mean, the best thing the reason I got my old hickory was because Sean and Gene talked me into it. Well, not talked me into it, but kind of educated me on it. But as a restaurant, you need to be able to get a spare part if something breaks right away. Mm-hmm. And a lot of these smokers people are getting, you got to call, you got to get it shipped out, and then it might take 2 days. It might be on back order, and you can't be down for 3 days.
No,
so all their parts you can get at Grainger.
Yep.
You can just go to Grainger and pick it up real quick, and there's a Grainger near everybody. So go pick up a part, get back. We always have spare parts for things that I can tell you right now. I've had mine for almost 3 years.
Really?
And I haven't had to do anything.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
We had to do one thing.
Yeah.
And that's when your guy Gene came and saved us.
You guys did some internet research and found us on because of our webpage. We had, we cook with our old hickory, and I think we got an email.
That's when you got an email from Louise, because that's when you really when you talk about it being a community and you talk about people really respecting other barbecue people and helping out and whatnot, you guys came through for us in a big way.
It wasn't even a question. I mean, I got the email and then I sent it to Gene and Eric, my GM, and said, is there any way we can help out? And Gene's like, absolutely. I'll call them and see what they need if I need to go down there. And,
yeah, that was so great. And he did come down. And honestly, I can't tell you how many times we've told that story because it really does kind of epitomize what we believe in and what we want for the barbecue community. There's so much really good barbecue in San Diego right now. We all are, and you get people that want to speak about, oh, do you like these guys? Do you like that guys? And
Who's
honestly,
the best? Who's the best? They do the best.
If I have to listen to another one of those conversations, I just want to drop kick somebody because that's not what it's about. We wanted a place where we could have, communal dining, put down your phone and talk to your neighbors and have a place in PB where you could do that. And we couldn't be down for 3 days. So for your guys to come out, for Gina to come out and to help us out, I know Rick was just
it's
really
like
impressed with that.
That's the culture that barbecue is. Those are the things that drive Derek and I towards barbecue.
Yep.
On the competition circuit, it's the same way. Those teams are competing against each other. Yet, if somebody doesn't have sidewalls, the team next to them, they're going to go jump and drive to Home Depot to go get sidewalls, pay out of their pocket to help them so that they pass health inspection. I mean, stuff like that doesn't happen, unless people are doing things for the right reasons. And, for us to anything that we can do for Brad or for Andy or for you guys, it's the way that it was done for us. And, Gene was the shining example of that.
Yeah.
We didn't have a clue what we were doing when we were putting on an amateur barbecue contest. And we asked for his help and he came and gave us tens of hundreds.
He's still here. He's still here. So he's, it's really important to understand that. I mean, it's hard. A lot of times people don't get it. They're like, what are Derek and Sean trying to do? What's behind it?
What's the alternative?
Like we're truly trying to just grow barbecue as a whole, not just trying to figure out how we can monetize ourselves. Because if we're just looking for transactional things, it doesn't work. It's never going to work because you're going to, at some point, you're going to run out of those people. You have to be transparent. You have to want other people to succeed just as much as you want to succeed.
Exactly.
So if there's anything that we can ever do, we want to make sure that we go do it and not just talk about it, but hey, let's go hop in the fucking car and let's go figure out what we can do to help them out because they're, we know how much it sucks to be down. Let's make sure that they're not down.
And I appreciate it so much because what I ended up doing, because when the pressure's on, I usually am very calm. So I was like, okay. What can I do?
Disturbingly calm. Right? Disturbingly calm.
So,
woosah.
So I just packed that side chamber with wood. I got a torch. I got some little fire starters, like the little natural ones. Lit it up. I threw racks on the bottom. I put 2 hotel pans on the side. Put more racks and just stacked meat and just smoked it that way until Gene came and fixed it off. So because I wasn't going to 86 every day.
You can't.
So you can't.
So
I had to figure it out, and that's the life of a chef.
Hey, guess what? During my flood, we didn't close.
Oh no,
Right.
I came to make sure they didn't close.
Right.
Yeah. Put out caution and said, "Don't come over here," while they got it all done.
Full liability. Call the attorney. Signs up.
Right.
You make sure that everything's
document
good,
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's important to make sure that like we said, it's a village, and to get everyone go in the same direction. It's important. But so you guys also have a pretty extensive bar and a bunch of beer. You guys have 36 tap handles?
We have 36 beer and 4 wine, and then we sell wines by the bottle as well.
4 wines on tap.
4 wines on tap.
Rad.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
I'm a wino, so it works
really,
for me.
really cool. No, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
And the beer actually, even though I'm not, doing the ordering, but what we try to do there with it is we never have the same beer on at any time. It seems like it's rotating so much. Sure. And we use mainly pretty much exclusively local breweries in San Diego for all that. And it's been, people come in, we do the whole thing, IPA, lager. I'm a lagers,
Right.
Belgian, sours. It's across the board. So
yeah, I saw the list yesterday, and I was really. Your guys' run line's long.
Yes.
Yeah.
You guys had to go underground, and those lines, that's got to be could be a nightmare sometimes, right? Because you get some diazotol in your lines if you do sours or whatever you do. It's having the
We're
glycol
really
system.
lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're really lucky with Ryan, who does all of our beer buying and whatnot. He has kind of the depth of experience needed for that. And also it's about that community of people that, Michael Peacock, people like that are just always there to be those guys to go to. And so it's really, again, a community thing. We also have a ton of events that we do with different, whether it's founders or whether it's a local brewery. And it's just a place to have fun. Like they come in deep. We sell meat and beer to bearded guys in PB. Yeah. It's not a bad gig. No, you know what awesome. I mean? Like it's a pretty great gig.
Well, it's one of the coolest things is we talk about a lot is, when you open up any store, it really doesn't matter. If it's a brick and mortar store and you're putting out food, if you're putting out barbecue, you're putting out beer, if you're not embracing the community and understanding the pulse of the community, then it's going to be that much harder to be successful. You can't go and impose your will on PB. You have to understand PB. And right when I walk into Iron Pig, I know that you guys understand PB. And I know that this is PB. This is a flagship for PB. And, it's probably one of the reasons why you've been so successful. Not to mention your attention to detail for quality. Yes. When you're a scratch kitchen, it's one of the things Gene's taught us so much is as much as we focus on the quality of the meats that we purchase, how we fabricate them, the sauces we make, the rubs we make, how long we cook them, the quality control, all the other ancillary things we make from scratch. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's a lot of labor.
It is a lot of labor. It's a lot of, a lot of planning and organizing and making sure everything's there. But, for me,
your habanero sauce is fucking hot.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
I forgot to mention that. I was just thinking about all that stuff you guys made yesterday. I love hot stuff, and I had some, and I took a big, nice dip in it, and I'm like, that's going to stay with me for a little bit.
That's my goal. Being from El Paso, I'm used to a lot of heat, and I told my prep cooks that make the hot sauces, I go, look, I want to burn people's ass here in PB.
Right.
It's so bad.
That's my goal.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so bad, it's so good. I come from a big family. I have 7 older brothers. I'm the only girl and the youngest. They are like, you've got a barbecue joint? We're coming down to San Diego. Right. And they like hot. I mean, they compete against each other. They're big dudes. And his habanero sauce, I was like, I just need to bring this to every family function because I can shut them up real quick. This is beautiful.
7 brothers and you're the last girl?
There you go.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. They just kept going until they got the girl.
That's what it was. That's how I was. I have 6 sisters and I'm the only boy.
Oh, you must be brilliant. You must be brilliant.
At a certain time of the month, I made sure I just stayed outside. Everyone cycled together. I was like,
peace out.
Over here.
Going fishing.
But to get back on the point of the scratch cooking, I just feel as a chef, you should pride yourself in making things from scratch with good organic or just, especially locally sourced vegetables and produce and meats as much as you can, just because you can taste it in the food and you could taste the pride, the love, everything that everyone gives in that back of the house. I credit all of them. It's not just about me or anyone else. If someone comes with a special, their name's on it. I talk about how they did it. I want the servers to talk about how they did it. So it's a community and they can feel pride working there.
Sure.
And put in the same effort. And the fact that a lot of the cooks I brought on, coming from the restaurants I came from, it was a lot of culinary kids, so we all had a lot of knowledge. The cooks that I brought on didn't necessarily have a lot of that, so it was fun coaching them up and seeing them excited and happy about learning how to make bechamel for the mac and cheese, or how to blanch green beans properly, or how to sear and do things properly, how to actually simmer things and not just boil them to death. And just all the techniques that I learned and pass on to them. That's my goal, because I eventually want them to go on and be sous chefs or chefs themselves. So.
How funny is that? Because we talked about that with some people. It's like at some point, dude, do better than me. Whatever it is, go out. If I can give you and you can tell the people that are really excited about coming in and being a part of it. But it's like, look, if I can help you in any way, let's go, man. I'll teach you everything I know. And at some point you might have a better palate than me and you can take it to the next level and go do your own thing. And I'll be your biggest supporter. I'll come down and help you out, do whatever we can. And it can be like, hey, I gave that guy his first job, or I had a little bit in building who he was.
I told my first sous chef, I said, if you're still here in 3 months, I'm kicking you out. And she was like, what do you mean? I go, you have much better things to achieve. So I'm showing you the little bit I can, and you need to go on. And she did. And now she's a sous chef in LA at a nice restaurant, and she sends me pictures of all the dishes she's doing, and it feels good. So.
Yeah, I think that's definitely one of the biggest challenges, being in the hospitality business is so many people don't see it as a career. They see it as they're kind of passing through, whether they're in school or they're, it's a second job. But, our job is to give them an opportunity to be passionate and to explore whatever that is, but if they're not excited to come to work, there's no possible way they can take care of the guests.
Exactly.
There's no possible way they can explain why you guys cook your barbecue the way you do, why you picked Old Hickory Pits,
right.
Why you're taking all this attention to detail, which is part of the story, and like those are the places that are going to be successful, the places that actually share the story with their guests because it brings people in. And
right.
they're like, well, I want to go back to Iron Pig because, the server cares, the bartender cares, I know the chef cares. I know that the people running this place actually care about,
right.
Pacific Beach.
That's a huge part of the story. I know that when we first got started, there were some of the guys in the back that were very shy and, sweet and just head down and grinding. And now if chef happens to not be there and someone wants to come back and see the smoker, they all know how to present well and to tell the story and give our why. And that, I think, is a credit to how he runs the back of house and how he gives them a reason why they have to do things a certain way. So it's not just a dictatorship. It's definitely...
Oh, I'm definitely not that kind of
he's
chef.
Definitely not.
If you see me back there, I'm singing, I'm dancing, I'm doing a lot of crazy stuff. Just to
He's
keep,
still in
just to keep their mood.
2003 with
Get us
his
some
rap
of those
music.
videos. I want some,
Yeah.
I want some of that
actually,
footage.
actually, some people have recorded me, so
Yeah.
I'll
they
send
got
it
it
to
on.
you.
Get that. Let's get that up. Let's get that up on Behind the Smoke. I want to see that.
Oh, that's such good blackmail, man.
Hey, that's fine. Well, I tell them whatever it is to keep you guys motivated, man.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there I'm dancing to the cumbia, I'm dancing to Wu-Tang.
There you go.
Yeah.
Now we're talking.
Yeah.
So talk to me about, you did a little bit of, or I don't know how extensive your term was in fine dining, but you're kind of wanting to do a little bit more of that into the barbecue world, right? Like it's called the long table that you're going to do is kind of bring like a different spin on barbecue.
Yeah, a little different spin. It's called the Long Table Project. Our first one's going to be Wednesday, January 31st, and they're going to be at the they're going to be every last Wednesday of every month. And what I wanted to do, I worked fine dining for about 3 years, right out of culinary school. It was an intense job. If you guys ever worked in fine dining, it fulfills you, but at the same time, it's so intense that I just kind of wanted to relax with food and get back to cooking comfort food and things like that. So this project, though, since I do have those skills and I do kind of miss doing certain kind of dishes and certain kind of elevated things, like you said before we talked, like the monotony of the barbecue every day, you want to just try to do some specials that are different. So with this, I'm going to play around with things that people might not think can be smoked, or
beef cheeks,
sweetbreads are going to be played with at some point.
People don't even know what sweetbread. They're like,
I know.
What kind of bread is it? Is bread? Like, I'm like, no, dude, it's off the gland up on the neck. It's a real piece of meat off the cattle.
Like we're going to do quail, scallops, a bunch of different kind of things. So
Partner with the breweries.
Yeah, we're going to partner with every month. It's going to be a new brewery. So our beer of the month, whoever that is, we're going to do the beer dinner with, and we'll pick 4 or 5 of their beers to pair with the beer dinner. So
now, how many courses is it?
This first one will be 5 courses. I'm going to have it range from 3 to 5 every time, depending. And there's going to be, some little, some kind of surprises in there. Here and there. It's not just going to be the 5 courses. There's a little bit of things that are
You're going to
come up.
Sell seats? Is that?
Yeah, we're going to sell tickets. I think Brigette can talk about.
Yep, we just sell them on Facebook and a brown paper ticket. So we create an event, and you can go there and click on the link. or you can come in and get them for $75. You can get them for $80 online.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Will the restaurant be open as well, or is it
The
just
restaurant,
It's
the
gonna
restaurant
be-
will be open as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's gonna be going on while I'm
see
doing
what
it.
kind of operation we're running
No,
here.
it's gonna be.
Oh, the restaurant's always open.
It's gonna be open. No, I was used to doing a lot of these dinners for like 7 years of my career, and I kind of wanted to bring that to Iron Pig and just kind of show what else we can do back there. So that's what it is for me, and just to play around with. Once I got that old hickory, I don't know about you guys, but I smoked everything. I smoked every vegetable. I smoked salt. I cracked eggs and smoked eggs in there. I just wanted to see what everything would do with smoke. Right. So then I had a bunch of ideas to do dishes with, and that's what this long table project's going to be for us.
I think it's cool because it adds curiosity back to the project. It adds passion back to you, back to the staff. But I mean, for a company like us, we're obsessed with events, and we don't care. We don't discriminate what kind of event it is. Like if it's going to make sense in the overall scheme of our barbecue and our why and or sports entertainment, we're going to explore it and we're going to try it out, especially with digital marketing. I mean, with Facebook and what you can do to draw interest. If somebody's in Pacific Beach, they don't even have to be following Iron Pig on Facebook. It'll just show up as a Facebook event that's happening. They're like, oh, wow, that's really cool. I can go and learn from a chef.
We get a lot of people that come in based off of our digital marketing strategy, but also it does fit with our why in the front of house, because we want people to talk to each other. We want people there. It definitely is a place where those long communal tables do their job. Everyone starts, whether it's about how hot the habanero sauce is, or whether it's about the wings, or whether it's about the football game on. People are talking to each other, and it's really become, especially for kind of those stroller families that come even from La Jolla, and they can come in with their kids, sit down, and not feel like they're disturbing a restaurant. We love having kids in. We love having people talking to each other. We like it loud. We like the energy. I know for sure Chef loves it when it's just buzzing like that. That's when he is at his best. And that crazy calm that we talked about before, that's a little disturbing. But with the Long Table Project, we want people to be dining and see, oh, I wonder what that is. Oh, okay. These are 15, 16, 20 of your neighbors that you didn't know that all have kind of that love for going out and having that experience. So we like that.
We've gotten away from that as a society.
Yes.
And it's important that we don't go too far from that, because it's the interaction that you have with another human is far, far superior than your little computer or your phone. So just to be able to talk to someone, Sean and I talk about like a lot of things that we've gained from this podcast. It's like, when else do you get to sit down with somebody, uninterrupted for an hour and really dive into like what they're doing, who they are as a person, and get to know them? You create relationships that you wouldn't have. And so this is our long table,
Love it. Love it.
But that's kind of what you're doing. You're almost kind of forcing people like,
True.
Like, oh, I'm not going to sit here at this seat. I'm going to sit one away. It's like, squeeze in. Because that's, I grew up with a big family. We're a Hispanic family. It's like, all the cousins are here. Everyone get together, and this is what we're doing. It's so, you're forcing that kind of feel, and you can feel it. When you walk in, it's not stuffy. It's just like a warm place with a little modern twist to it. And it's a beautiful place, and we really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think we
went there yesterday. So
a lot of what we do with events is just to break up the pattern of life.
Yes.
Breaking up the pattern. I mean, we joke about it, but literally we shut down the street in front of our restaurant so that the people that live in Spring Valley that kept driving past and said, oh, we didn't even know you had a restaurant. Well, now you actually have to drive through a detour.
Exactly.
So at least maybe they'll think, hey, what's going on? Like, what's happening at that restaurant? But, interrupting the patterns of life, we'll do cooking classes, and we've done cooking classes here at Valley Farm, or we'll do them at Cali Comfort, where we'll talk about beer. We'll talk about different cuts of meat. Gene will talk about smoking. Derek will talk about, how to properly fabricate the meats. And when people that come in just for breakfast see us on the front patio having the cooking class, they're like, what's going on?
Right.
So that's all automatically interrupted their pattern of thinking. And they're like, well, I love barbecue. How come I didn't know about it? Mm-hmm. Now they're going to sign up for our email newsletter, or they're going to sign up for our Facebook page. So it's like, I need to make sure that I don't miss that.
Because they've already bought into what you're about.
And this is what's, this is what this long table project sounds like. It sounds like something that, whenever you focus on education and you focus on things that are bigger than what the transaction is at the cash register, then you're starting to do really the right things, and then people can actually learn from the master. And like that's really what we're trying to do. I mean, we try to put Gene in as many positions where he can keep sharing his knowledge with the world.
Oh, because he'll share. And he'll share.
I know.
And he'll share. And he'll share.
He'll honestly share.
Oh no, you're gonna get it. And there's a one way that Gene's gonna tell you. And
that's funny.
And that's the best way.
It's great, yeah. So I mean, even with us, when we talk about like recipes and stuff, and we talk about the cooking classes, like I don't hold anything back. If you want to know exactly what I put in my shit, I'll tell you exactly. It's gonna take you a long time to like really figure it out. But I mean, like, look, I want you to get better. If I can't be transparent with you, I'm not really looking out for your best interest. So this cooking class it's stupid. Because I'm not really giving you the true information. I don't hold anything back. If you want to know my exact cooking times and how I did it, let's go. I'll show you exactly that so you can make it. And hopefully you come and buy your brisket here when you go cook it, whatever it is. But we're as transparent gets. And we honestly want just that, like we talked, that movement to continue to grow. And we've gotten away, like as a society, everyone's trying to get so sheltered in its mind, or it's, this gratification that's just everything's theirs.
Definitely.
And it's like, no, that's not. It's not. Guess what? Cavemen fucking smoked meats.
Yeah,
Chill
exactly.
out.
There
You
you
didn't
go.
invent shit.
It's nothing. Yeah, it's nothing crazy.
Yeah, you didn't invent it. You didn't. I mean, that's salt and pepper.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like that.
Right.
It's not. It's not. Nothing,
That's the good shit.
Right, exactly.
That's the good shit. That's the shit you want right there.
Make sure you use it.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny with the brisket because, I appreciate what you guys said about it. It is really good. It comes out good quite often, and people are like, "What do you do to it?" I go, "Salt and pepper."
Yeah.
And time.
Yeah.
And they're like, "That's it." I go, "Yeah." And you can do it at your place too.
Yeah.
You just gotta love to do it and pay attention.
But you guys are carrying a quality product too. Cause
Exactly.
You guys carried Black Angus. I don't know if it was choice briskets, and they look great. You have to start with a good product.
Always.
You always have to make sure that you're getting.
It's like most of my
stuff.
chefs before me that I work for. They said, "I'm just trying not to fuck up the food."
Right.
I get the best ingredients, and I'm just trying not to fuck it up. That's what they always used to say.
Yeah, we always tease when we give people food here. We're like, we did our part.
Yeah.
We're going to give you the
There you
best we
go.
can give you. Now,
Yeah.
we'll try to teach you how to cook it, but now it's your job to go take
Don't
it home
fuck it up.
and figure that part out,
That's funny. Tell us a little bit just kind of about the menu development and, the challenges, because, one of the biggest things for a restaurant is to understand that, if you have space on the smoker, that means that's money that needs to get made.
Exactly.
So, as much as we want to get people into Iron Pig to sit down and have a meal, or to take food out, you also need to do catering.
Yeah.
So, meats by the pound, developing the
Exactly.
catering menu. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, when we first opened, it was the first menu I developed on my own, without like a sous chef or another chef with me, because it was, actually, I'll give credit to my first sous chef as well, Christy. But what I was trying to do was bring things that I learned from Texas, but also implement things that I noticed PB would want, or just San Diego in general. Because we do have an extensive menu with salads and like a mushroom portobello, like things that you don't find on barbecue.
Man salad.
The man salad. Yeah, that's a funny story. I worked at Smoking Goat Restaurant in North Park, and we used to make family meal, and just real quick so we can have something before we got hit. And we just always used to throw in ribeye, arugula, French fries, pickled onions, throw in some like balsamic vinegar and oil, and just scarf that down. So that was the idea that was where it came from, and I just put it on the menu. And we always used to call it the man salad at
Right.
Smoking Goat. So
True story. Most women order the man salad. Just
That's
FYI.
awesome. That's awesome. Very cool.
Corey had it yesterday. he's a testament.
Corey, I'm sorry.
That's a testament.
Very nice.
But mainly, I was trying to develop it to where it was things I liked to eat, and things that the community would want. That's why we have the tacos on there and things like that, because PB's taco heavy.
We also have a lot of vegetarians and
a lot
vegans.
of vegetarian options that you wouldn't find at most barbecue places, especially where I'm from in Texas. It's meat, white bread, and that's it. And then you deal with it. I mean, that's
Well, you know, maybe a pickle.
yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
And we make our own
pickled
pickles there
onions.
actually. So
Yep.
but yeah, and then along with the catering, just like you said, I tried, I give all the meat options, but except for the wings, unless you special order that, because the wings, we sell a lot of that, and I got to keep that thing open for in-house wings.
And there's a reason for that.
Yes.
There's a very specific reason. It's because operationally, in order to put out the best smoked wing in-house, you've got to have control.
Yeah.
And once you lose control, if people are coming in and ordering, hey, I need 40 smoked wings, like, well, with all the pars, with everything else that I've got going on, I can't do it for you.
Exactly.
I want to do it for you, but I can't.
Oh, I would love to. I mean, I have no problem.
But I
smoking
have to say no. I mean, those are those things where it's like, just because you can do it doesn't mean you should.
Exactly.
Because it only takes a few times of fucking it up where you're like, oh, well, there you go.
There you go.
That's why we don't do a half a pan of cobbler. You know, as much as somebody wants to come in and go, oh, can we get a half a pan of cobbler?
No.
Like, no, we only do it through catering.
Exactly.
And it has to be this order and it's got to be done.
That's funny you said that because we just had a situation like that about the cobbler. I tell them, hey,
you should mention that.
I go, it takes a little bit of time, and you know, I didn't order it for you. I mean, you got to give me notice. That's why we have the notice.
72 hours in advance.
72
We
hours.
saw that. We read that yesterday.
Yeah,
I circled that. I was like,
I'll even do 48, and you know, because I am who I am, I like to give people what you know what they want. I want to make them happy. If they give me less than that, I'll work with them if I can do it. But on certain items, I just can't do it. And
it's just you
Rick's
set
motto
yourself
is,
up.
I can do anything with time and money.
That's true. No, you set yourself up for failure though, and the last thing you want to do is make an exception and then realize, Jesus, I made that rule for a reason,
right?
Because I don't want to fail. I don't want to fail and put something.
You
out.
want to keep integrity, and
Absolutely.
you want to keep your product at a high level, and not just give them what they want, and then it's not what you actually wanted to put out. I always tell my cooks that too. Don't. I'd rather you start over than put out trash up in the window,
Yes.
please.
All the time.
I would
tell
rather.
people, if you wouldn't eat that shit, throw that shit out. Start over. Go again.
You know, we do a lot of Texas toast where we we have it on the flat top, and I go, I can hear from the back. Okay, guys, I go, if I hear a knife scraping that bread, that's failure. So throw that away, start over. Like, let's make it right.
Like you said, it's important because the integrity.
Yeah,
and you want to keep that consistency, and it's important that they know that you care.
Yes,
because you're the example, and you're the one that's doing it all the time, and we have to make sure that I know myself, I'll get away from always leading by example. It's like you have to make sure that you're doing, my checklist for everyone else. I don't always follow my checklist. I'm like, shit, I gotta get back to making sure I'm doing the things right too. It holds me accountable.
True. So. And I actually like when my sous chef will call me out. Yeah. I'm like, hey, you told us, and I'm like, oh, okay, you're right. And so, it snaps you back into what you should be doing. But the fact that he notices is good because he cares about the job as well.
Well, I noticed we had drinks here yesterday. You guys didn't have straws. Can you guys dive into that?
Purposefully.
I love it.
We actually, and that is a huge kind of feather in Ryan's cap in the front of the house. We really want to, again, belong to the community, and a huge push in PB and a huge push across San Diego is plastic sucks and straws suck.
Yeah.
So we want to get away from that. We have paper straws. We know that kids are in our restaurant. We know that we're going to need straws. We know that some adults prefer straws. So it's not a problem for us to have paper straws, but we just felt like what we can do, and we can't do everything, but what we can do, we will do to support the community and the environment and make sure that we're doing our part in that.
That goes back to what Sean was saying. You guys had to understand where you guys were at and what you're doing. And it's probably who you are too, to help out the environment, and then embrace the community and show like, hey, we're not here just for like the transactional thing. We're here for like everybody.
And there are some things that we can do and there are some things that we can't. I mean, we're talking about kind of online forums and things of that nature where everybody wants to be a restaurant owner and say, you know what would be great? And I kid you not, this was a real thing, guys. You know what would be great? Rick is such a good chef, and we love your meat. But we always wanted a platter that had every type of meat that you sell on it for like $20.
Yes, of course we do.
Because I mean, honestly,
we also want to be open tomorrow.
We would get there, and it's just like, okay, well, we cannot have plastic straws, but we can't do the $20 all meat platter. You know what I mean? So
it's a give or take.
It's a give or take. We do what we can.
What do you think the biggest challenges on the digital and social side have been just in the last, since you guys have taken over the restaurant and opened up?
We're pretty lucky, I'll say. We have... Our Yelp reviews are pretty great. We're at 4.5 stars.
Who responds to the Yelp reviews?
I do. I do.
Nice. What's up?
How you doing?
What's going on? Digging deep.
Would you like to pay for my therapy sessions?
Absolutely.
I don't know.
So-
I can't.
Being a new business owner and having to respond to Yelp reviews it's yeah.
I didn't even know Yelp existed before I moved here because
like-
in Texas they don't
He
really.
still calls
like being there
Facebook
about
the
that.
Facebook. So
The
we
Facebook.
we
from the
don't,
90s.
but
I'm from the '90s still.
that's back to his Wu-Tang
I'm stuck in the past.
2003 days.
Right.
So I do. And honestly, when we get something that's just ridiculous, we'll have all of the people that are in the know texting
Yeah.
me just question marks or, and
Sure.
it's fine. I don't mind doing it because honestly, I appreciate when someone tells us when we've got it wrong.
Yes.
And it's truly that. I know that Rick is the gatekeeper on the back and Ryan is the gatekeeper on the front, but I also then have an opportunity to, I'm not just going to give you a free gift card or I'm not going to, when people are angling for stuff,
Sure.
but you also know when you've come in and you haven't been at your best.
Absolutely.
And so to be able to win them back or to be able to say, hey, everything is about intention and capacity. Our intention is never to give you bad service. Our intention is never to have you wait a long time. Our intention is always to create community, to show off the food that the back of the house does, and to have a great time, to have fun.
Right.
And sometimes our capacity is that we can do that. And sometimes on a Saturday at 8, we fail. And so to be able to respond to that and kind of allow them to see that we're humans and we're not, a TGI Fridays that has a protocol of how to answer things back.
That's the worst.
Yeah.
It's that's the part that's
You have to be
Trying.
you have to be open, you have to be honest, but you also have to have your own voice.
Yes.
And when
Exactly.
people don't see that, then it's a huge turnoff. If no one
Yes.
responds, then it's a huge turnoff. I mean,
Yes.
I grew up in the restaurant business where there was a time where people would beg to get someone to get a comment card. Like we would beg for feedback. Now that feedback's coming from all different angles. It's coming from
Absolutely.
TripAdvisor, it's from Yelp, it's from Facebook, it's from you name it.
absolutely.
And like all we can do is embrace that and say, hey, at least it's a would I much rather have the customer say, ask for a manager and see if we can fix it on site?
Of
Yes,
course.
of course.
Of
But
course.
the reality is some people don't like confrontation and it's more comfortable for them to
Right.
do it anonymously online.
Right.
The only thing that we ask is, if we do respond and we have a conversation, at least let's have a conversation about
Right.
it.
Absolutely.
Like if there's a question, when did you come in? If you tell me, it's not to get a server in trouble or to get somebody in the
Exactly.
back of the house in trouble. It's to make us better. If I know when you came in, what time you came in, if I have your receipt, your itemized receipt, guess what? That's going to tell us operationally everything that we need to know to
Exactly.
go back in and say, hey, how can we do better? We
Exactly.
failed. How can we do better? Or maybe we didn't fail, but at least we can investigate. How did we fail with this guest?
Right.
And everything's about training the front of house. I mean, chef has a huge hand in training the front of house and how they sell things and how they respond to certain things like pastrami being out at 9:30 on a certain day of the week. And if they don't, they're kids too. So if they don't know how to respond to that and they haven't kind of metabolize that through their training, it allows us to say, okay, this is who is working. We're not going to go fire someone. We're going to go and train them.
Right.
We're going to go
Absolutely.
and give them an opportunity to be better as well.
Sure.
So that's
I love feedback as long as it's organic feedback.
Yeah.
That's what you can
Exactly.
And you can feel the ones that are just like, oh my, like you didn't even fucking walk in my store.
Yeah.
And
I
you're
like,
right.
I like
Fucking
those
review.
sometimes. So those are fun.
It's
Oh,
funny,
no.
and like even the ones that are too like, oh my
Yeah.
god, everything. I'm like, calm down. It's not
Right.
So how many parking spaces do you guys have?
0.
Yeah. So the number one complaint that we get on Yelp is that we don't have enough parking. And we have
Yep.
access to over 100 parking spaces. I was talking to Corey just before the podcast, and I was like, literally, if we had less parking, we would have less complaints about the parking.
For sure.
But because we're busy and because we're utilizing all these different spots, like all of a sudden it's a problem because
Right.
I don't have a spot right away.
Right.
I'm like,
Right.
if we were downtown or if we were in La Jolla or if we were in PB, I wouldn't have a parking spot. My wife
Exactly.
and our son,
Exactly.
they wouldn't have a parking spot. So, I mean, you deal with what you have to. You try your best to explain
Mm-hmm.
the situation that, we're always trying to create an environment that is the absolute best that we can provide.
Absolutely.
But at the end of the day, some people, all they're going to do is give you feedback. And,
Absolutely.
the most important thing is to respond to that feedback. And it's a good thing that you guys have the pulse of what's going on. There's a lot of restaurants. It's difficult, in this day and age in 2018, it can get overwhelming. It's not something where you just, you rely on marketing and you say, oh, this is what we're going to do. And like, that's it. Like, no, it's an everyday thing.
It's an everyday thing.
It is an everyday thing, and it's an every hour thing.
Yep. Absolutely.
And I've been part of 4 openings now here in San Diego. So it's every time it's a challenge, but it's, and this one was the hardest one I had to do just because I didn't have, the huge culinary team that I would at the other restaurants that I was part of the opening with. So that was the challenge, but it made me a better chef. And, about, like with the community coming in, I go out there and talk with them a lot of the times. I'll take my apron off. I'll go out in the dining room and talk with the regulars and all that. And they appreciate that too. So yeah, it's
one way that I remember he did that, which I thought was that's kind of a perfect description. When we were in it and going, and the community was behind us, and it's a fun place to be because you're definitely gonna see neighbors and whatnot. We started doing Soul Food Sundays, so that was kind of the first rendition of Chef being able to go off and do the shrimp etouffee and the shrimp and grits and the smoked duck and all of that. And he would explain to people, because they would be like, well, wait a minute, are you turning into a soul food restaurant? What are you doing? This is a bad idea. What's going on? And he explained barbecue is soul food.
Right.
Like, this is what, this is how my family cooked. This is what I'm used to. This is what I love. I can't tell you what I'm going to do next Sunday. I'm going to tell you, I'll let marketing tell you a few days ahead of time, but I'm not going to tell you right now.
Yeah, they get on me about that a lot because I'm a procrastinator with it, but it's in the moment. It's a feeling,
It's
definitely a feeling.
It is
with specials.
It's one of the biggest challenges. I mean, I know because I'm so obsessed with marketing, but operationally, like to get a special out, to get it to marketing, and then to have the front of the house trained, to get it on the, like, there's so many things that have to happen.
We'll go have a beer and talk about that. Okay? We'll go have a beer and talk about that, buddy.
Eric, my general manager, bless his heart, somehow I haven't scared him away after 10 years of, constantly pushing and adding events and doing all kinds of stuff. And, he's the one that has to program the POS to make sure that the button's in there and that, whatever's on Facebook actually exists and the server can sell it and they know what they're selling and where it's located. There's a lot of challenges that go along.
I really felt a bonding right there at that moment. I really felt a bonding right there at that moment.
I feel the struggle. The struggle is real.
Truly.
But yeah, we absolutely love what you guys are doing in Pacific Beach, and we love the fact that other people respect how much you guys have dedicated to the craft of barbecue, on Eating and Drinking San Diego. I mean, number one, you guys are always coming up. You, Andy, Coops, you guys are doing it right. You're doing the right things. The dedication that you have, the craft that you have. I mean, just you weren't even there when we went yesterday, and your guy in the back, he was more than happy to show us the pit, show us what was going on. Cool. And he was so excited.
Tomas.
He truly
He's
loved
great.
what he was doing. Yeah. And, when you see that, you know that people care. We know that you guys are doing the right things. What are you on social?
We're at Iron Pig
At
Alehouse.
Iron Pig Alehouse on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter.
All of it.
All of it and above. Be sure to check it out. Everything's going to be in the show notes. Before we wrap up, we did want to give a special shout out to CS Keys, to his family, one of our dear friends, just somebody that had just an incredible impact on the community. He passed away at 54. Huge blow.
It's a tough one for Sean and I and everyone in San Diego. It's I got introduced by Sean and kind of just helping us, and he was just always so contagious with his smile and laugh and funny dirty jokes and just always just made us feel important and always just kind of gave us encouragement on doing what we're doing. And he'll be greatly missed, and it won't be the same, but we'll just continue to do our thing and make sure we tell dirty jokes.
Yeah, I know Fight Club, Jeff Dotseth and Jim Trotter and Dave Pellet. Every time we get together on Fight Night, we always have CS there, and we'd always bust his balls, and we'd always talk shit about his theme song. And nobody was better at knowing the right time to tell a joke and to crack a joke, to make fun of himself, but also just to show love. And, it was crazy how many times he came out to our barbecue events and he brought his little girl, and everyone wanted to take photos with him, and he was always willing to take selfies and talk to people and, share his story and to support our barbecue events. And, we're truly going to miss him. We're going to miss him, but we're also going to smile. We recommend, there's a Dave and Jeff podcast that they did with CS a while back, but we'll put it in the show notes. Check it out and enjoy the man because he was awesome. But thank you guys for coming out here.
Thank you guys for having us.
It certainly means a lot, and we look forward to next episode. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Over and out.
I'm talking about CS Keys. CS Keys. Now let me tell you about a stand-up guy, community-oriented and still so fly. Award-winning yet humble, the kind of man that'll lend a helping hand if you see a stumble. CS Keys is positive. He believes that we can overcome obstacles as we see. And y'all know that's just what we need. CS, you gotta go take the lead. I'm talking about CS Keys. CS Keys. CS is a 5-letter sigma and an NAACP representative. Part of the Urban League and 100 black men of San Diego. He's a man of action. Motivate you through his speaking and his teaching and his leading by example. So you're seeing what I'm seeing. The #1 African-American presence or a role model outside of athletics. He's CS Keys.